Do you find yourself thinking too much about someone who clearly doesn't care about you anymore? Maybe a friend who stopped replying to your messages, an ex-partner who moved on, or even a family member who, for some reason, has distanced themselves. Why is it so hard to simply let go? Humans have a natural need for connection and validation. We want to be recognized, valued, and feel like we matter in the lives of others. However, when that reciprocity disappears, we tend to resist change and remain stuck in the past, wondering what we did wrong or how we could have prevented the loss. The truth is, holding on to someone who has already moved on is a waste of energy and an obstacle to our own growth. Stoic philosophy teaches us that we should not cling to what we cannot control, and that true freedom comes from accepting reality. Suffering arises when we refuse to let go of what no longer belongs to us. In this video, you will learn 5 Stoic lessons to free yourself from those who don't care about you. Through these teachings, you will regain control over your mind and find the serenity that comes from accepting that some connections simply serve their purpose and run their course. Are you ready to take back your power? Here are 5 Stoic lessons to free yourself from those who don't care about you. 1. Accept the impermanence of relationships. Life is in constant motion, and that includes the people around us. We try to hold on to what once made us happy, but this resistance only prolongs suffering. Stoicism teaches that we cannot control other people's feelings, only our own reactions. Grieving the loss of someone who chose a different path is like trying to hold sand in your hands. The tighter you grip, the faster it slips away. Accepting that relationships have a natural cycle is an act of freedom. Instead of resisting reality, we must embrace it with serenity. Instead of asking, "Why did this happen?" we can reframe the question to, "What can I learn from this?" This shift in perspective transforms pain into growth and allows us to move forward without carrying the weight of the past. Gratitude for what was should replace obsession over what no longer exists. The presence of someone in our life, no matter how brief, brought lessons and moments that shaped who we are. True wisdom is not about clinging. It's about recognizing when to let go and allowing new paths to unfold. 2. Take control of your own mind. Stoicism teaches that we cannot control what others do or feel, but we have complete power over our own mind and reactions. If someone has chosen to walk away or treat us with indifference, we cannot change that reality. However, we can decide how we respond emotionally to the situation. The biggest mistake we make is allowing someone else's actions to dictate our mental state. When we dwell on rejection or a lack of attention from someone, we are handing over our power to them. It's as if we're saying, "My peace depends on your validation." But that is not true. Emotional freedom comes when we learn to be independent of other people's behavior. The Stoics remind us that it's not events themselves that hurt us, but the way we interpret them. Instead of seeing rejection as a personal wound, we can view it as a reminder that we don't need external approval to be happy. Whenever someone takes up too much space in your mind, ask yourself, "Is this worth my energy?" Redirect that focus towards something that strengthens you, new projects, learning, or simply taking care of yourself. Whoever controls their thoughts controls their life. 3. Redefine the value you give to people. Often, suffering does not come from someone's absence, but from the exaggerated importance we place on that person. Stoicism teaches us that it is not events themselves that hurt us, but the way we interpret them. When we put someone on a pedestal, we convince ourselves that they were indispensable and that their absence has left an irreparable void. But is that really true? The reality is that some relationships teach us more through their departure than through their presence. People come and go, and the sooner we learn to accept this, the freer we become. If someone has chosen to walk away, maybe that relationship was not as essential as we once thought. A good Stoic practice is to question the real significance of that person in your life. Ask yourself, if I look at this situation 5 years from now, will I still care about it? More often than not, we realize that we are investing time and emotion in something that, in the long run, will have little impact. Instead of wasting energy trying to understand why someone doesn't value you, redirect your attention to those who truly make a difference. More importantly, invest in yourself. After all, the most lasting and valuable relationship you will ever have in life is with yourself. 4. Strengthen your emotional independence. True emotional freedom arises when we realize that our happiness cannot depend on another person. If you feel like you desperately need someone's attention or approval, it's a sign that you haven't yet built a solid foundation of self-worth. Stoicism teaches that the less we rely on external validation, the stronger and more resilient we become. Too often, we place our happiness in the hands of others, believing that we can only be complete if we have the attention of certain people. This type of thinking makes us vulnerable and easy to manipulate. When we free ourselves from this need, we rediscover our own worth and stop seeking recognition where it does not exist. To strengthen your emotional independence, it is essential to learn to appreciate your own company. Spend time on activities that expand your mind and build your self-confidence, such as reading, exercising, or continuous learning. Find a greater purpose that does not depend on other people's opinions. The less you need external approval, the more powerful you become. What others do or don't do does not define who you are. Your strength comes from within, and only you can cultivate it. 5. Practice conscious detachment. Letting go does not mean being cold or indifferent. It means understanding that some connections have already served their purpose and no longer make sense in your life. Stoicism teaches that suffering is born from attachment to what should have already been left behind. The more we insist on holding on to something that no longer belongs to us, the more we feed our own pain. Accepting the end of a relationship does not mean denying your feelings, but recognizing that you have the power to choose where to direct your energy. Instead of focusing on what was lost, shift your attention to what can be gained. Every time you make space in your life, new opportunities arise. True growth happens when we learn to release what no longer strengthens us. One effective way to practice detachment is to replace old habits linked to that person with new experiences. Avoid constantly exposing yourself to emotional triggers, such as old messages or places that bring unnecessary memories. Writing about your feelings and then discarding the paper can symbolize letting go of the past. Life flows better when we learn to release, allowing new connections and experiences to enter our path. Life is too short to waste time on people who don't value you. Stoicism teaches us that emotional suffering comes from holding on to what should have already been let go. When we insist on seeking the attention of someone who has moved on, we are only prolonging our own suffering. True freedom arises when we learn to accept the impermanence of relationships, take control of our minds, redefine our priorities, strengthen our emotional independence, and practice conscious detachment. Each of these Stoic lessons serves a single purpose: to give you back the power over your own life. When you stop depending on external validation, you rediscover your inner strength. When you release what no longer makes sense, you create space for new opportunities. The path to emotional peace is not about changing others, but about changing your own perspective. Every time you let go of what doesn't strengthen you, you take a step toward emotional freedom. Now I want to hear from you. Which of these lessons applies to your life? Comment below and share your experience. And don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel. Thank you for watching.